It's like I was shot. Striking pain. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel with me, Mathilda, obviously. Before we get started, don't forget to, to like this post, subscribe and everything like that. And also follow me on my socials, especially Instagram, because I'm most active on my Instagram account. So let's get into the video. So today I'm going to talk about my SRS, or my gender reassignment surgery, the progress, how it was, and if it was painful and such. It will be kind of like, a story time video, but about my SRS. So yeah. For those who don't know, gender reassignment surgery or reassignment surgery is the bottom surgery. So SRS stands for reassignment surgery. Here in Sweden, you basically need to go through a whole process to get accepted to get SRS. I started my process when I was around like 15, 16. It took around like a year or two to get on estrogen. Then you need to be on estrogen for over a year to get the SRS. I was between 19 or 20 when I got my surgery. Everything here in Sweden is paid for because you talk to a lot of psychologists, doctors, and they all need to verify that you actually are transgender. That's why the process is so long. When you're like verified that you have gender dysphoria, you get the medicine and all the surgeries for free just because we have free healthcare, and this is a mental health issue. You need the surgeries to get rid of the gender dysphoria. So when I had my SRS, I had two surgeries, one major one and one smaller one. The major one was the vaginoplasty, when they give you, and the second one was a few months later, and it was just to make everything look better, make everything look more, decent, beautiful. Yeah. I just want to start off by saying that my SRS was necessary for me to live an ordinary life. My gender dysphoria was really bad. I couldn't live a normal life without having this surgery. I had trouble showering. I couldn't be intimate with someone. I didn't have a partner or anything like that before my surgery, just because my gender dysphoria was like really, really bad. And I obviously needed this surgery to be happy. And I'm so happy to live here in Sweden and get this for free. Before the surgery, I was really nervous. I mean, I was happy because I've been wanting to do this for such a long time. I've been waiting and waiting to do this surgery. I was excited and I wanted to do this. Also, like on the other hand, I was kind of nervous because it's a really big surgery and it's really complicated. A lot of things can go wrong. Yeah, so I was really nervous to do it. Process, everything is like done properly. We get a great surgeon for free. So I got a surgeon, I met up with him, and he was like amazing. He's actually one of the best in Europe because your girl deserves the best of the best. No, but seriously, he was amazing. He had been working a lot in like London, Germany and stuff like that. So he was truly amazing, and I felt like blessed to have him because he had such great reviews. A lot of people talk very dearly of him. I was not as nervous as I was before when I knew that he was the one, doing it. So me and him, we talked through what I wanted and what he could do for me. He talked about the risks and what could happen if something went wrong. He actually said that none of those risks that we talked about had actually, happened to him. So that was really relieving that he said that, because, I didn't want to be, botched. But next week you'll see me on botched, on TLC. Your girl gotta be on TV. No, but I was really relieved that he told me those things because, as I said, it's quite a big surgery and I was really nervous before, but something lifted up my shoulders. The surgery was scheduled to happen in May. So I took a few months out of school to have this surgery because you actually need to be away from school and work for around 3 months after the surgery. So during these 3 months after the surgery, I was actually just like laying in bed, watching TV shows and doing nothing at all. Just getting back on my feet, and yeah. It actually felt very nice just because like I'm going to get to it, but the surgery was painful obviously, and it just felt great not having something that you needed to do right after. The surgery was in May. I had a few months of summer, so that was great. Just because I had the summer afterward just to like heal, but it also kind of, I couldn't just like swim in the ocean during a few months, so that kind of, I was happy anyway. On the morning of the surgery, I showered at home. I got into the hospital with my mom. She's always been like super supportive of this whole thing, so she was there with me. She actually took a few days from work during this period just to like look after me after the surgery, so that was like super nice of her. I got one of those like hospital robes, you know. I got a bed. One of the nurses, she like talked me through it, told me everything. Then I took some blood tests just to see that I was fine. Then I just needed to wait. A few hours after we had arrived at the hospital, a nurse came in and she told me, now it's time. My heart started like racing, but they also told me like you need to keep your cool just because it isn't good for the body to have a surgery if you're all nervous and your heart is racing. So they told me to be calm and they were really nice. I got on, you know, one of those like rolling beds and they rolled me through the hospital. Like I felt like a baby. I felt like laying there and they like rolled me. I got to the surgery room and all of the people there were so nice. They took care of me. They told me everything was going to be okay. I got a warm blanket on my feet and everyone took care of me. It kind of made me more relaxed. However, since the surgery is so painful, you need a shot in your back to actually paralyze your legs. So before I was sedated, they put a needle in my spine. Then they grabbed one of my feet and, you know, like raised it, squeezed on it and asked me if I could feel it, and I couldn't feel my legs at all. It was kind of scary. Then they asked me to wiggle my toes and I tried, and I looked at my toes and I tried to wiggle it, but it didn't wiggle. So, and they were like, okay, so it's time. I got a mask, you know, that you breathe in. I got the anesthesia and then I started counting, but I didn't even get to 0. Then I was like wiped out. The next second, I just wake up in the recovery room. I just started thinking like, oh my god, it's done. And then a nurse came in and she was like, oh my god, you're awake. How are you feeling? Are you in pain? And I wasn't actually in a lot of pain. I thought that I was going to wake up and be like, oh my god, I'm dying. I wasn't really, and it was just because like I was on a lot of strong medication. She told me that I actually had one of these like things that you could press on, and every time you press it, you get more medication. I got a popsicle. She was really nice. I actually love being under just because it's like the best sleep that you will ever get in your life. That sleep was, you know. However, after the surgery, I actually looked under my sheets just to, you know, get a glimpse, and it was all like bandaged up, you know, you couldn't see anything, and I just felt like euphoria is the way to describe it. I just felt so incredibly happy. Yeah, I know I was like botched down there. The first few days after the surgery, I was in pain. I'm not gonna lie, it was painful. And even though I was on really strong medication, I was in pain. But yes, after the surgery, like the first few days, I had trouble sleeping. I was in pain. I had drains all over my body. You know, the hospital beds aren't that comfy. So I had just trouble sleeping overall, even though I got like medications and stuff. And I moved rooms 3 times. I'm not gonna lie, it was I don't know why I moved rooms so many times, and I got quite angry because I had been promised one room that I was going to be alone in. I mean, all of the rooms that I got was single rooms. It was just annoying moving around so much because I was in pain, I had trouble sleeping, and then on top of that, I needed to move rooms. It was just like, oh my god, just let me stay in one room. Why do you need to move me? Actually, one time when they moved me, one nurse moved me to a different room. However, she kind of moved me to the wrong room. I was moved to a room, you know, it had one of these like things that you can press so you get a nurse in. However, it was broken, and the nurse that moved me to that room, she didn't tell anyone where I was. So I was stuck in my bed just because like I couldn't get out of my bed, just had surgery. And on top of this, I started bleeding kind of heavily actually, like it got out of the bandages. It like started getting on the bed. So I was really scared. I was like, oh my god, I'm going to die. I'm going to die now. They actually told me like before the surgery that I could be bleeding for the first few days, but I just got so scared because I was alone. The nurse didn't tell anyone and I started bleeding. I was starting to panic and just all by myself. So naturally I started crying. I mean, I was sleep deprived and I was in pain and I was on medication, so I just started crying uncontrollably. So I lay there, I just cried. I thought that I was going to die. I mean, drama queen. Maybe like 20 minutes after this, the nurse came in again and she just like looked at me and saw that I've been crying, and there was so much empathy in her eyes. I mean, I could see that she felt bad, and she didn't like say much. She just like walked up to my bed and said like apologized, and then I told her about the bleeding, and she said like, oh, it's fine, like that's natural, I'm going to change the bandages. So she did, and it wasn't really her fault. I mean, I just cried so much because I was like sleep deprived and everything like that, and I felt kind of ashamed. I don't know why, but you just lay there and you can't do anything. You just feel like a big baby. That's why I started crying, because I was a baby. Also during these 7 days, multiple people were down there looking, changing the bandages and everything like that. So after the surgery, I was like, I don't really care. Like, you don't care. Like, you have so many people being up in your business, and it wasn't pretty. I mean, it was bruised and everything like that. And they told me, don't be scared. It's not going to look like that. The surgeon is like one of the best. Like, please don't be scared. And I was like, okay. And I just want to say, like, a few months after the surgery, I was really happy with the results. So they told me the truth. It was just like in the beginning. Maybe like on day 5, they took out the packaging in the canal of. You have a lot of packaging and bandages just to, stop the bleeding. They have packaging up there just because they don't want it to close up. When you have pierced your ear, the hole can, close up. And it's like that because it's, man-made. So the body thinks it's not supposed to be there. So the first few days they have packaging up there just to, stop it from closing up. So yeah, that was a really weird feeling when they removed the packaging. I actually had removed a lot of my drains before that, so I wasn't hooked up to a lot of machines anymore. On day 5, I was kinda, I could go to the bathroom and stuff like that. Honestly, very happy that it was done. Like, it wasn't as painful anymore, even though it was on day 5, but I was also on very strong medication. I could, go around by myself, go to the bathroom. I was really slow. I felt like a lady. I was like, it just felt so nice not being hooked up to machines anymore. So the last 2 days I actually slept pretty good at the hospital just because I was on medication still, but I wasn't, hooked up to any machines or having packaging inside me or anything like that. So that felt nice. After the 7 days, I went home. My sister picked me up. We went straight home. I got in my bed, and that's when the worst part started. A lot of people think that being in the hospital was the worst part, and I'm not gonna lie, it was unbelievably hard being at the hospital, but it was not painful at the hospital. I got such strong medications that it wasn't painful. But when I got home, that's when like the true pain started, just because I wasn't on the same medications anymore. I did receive a few morphine pills that would last me for around 2 weeks, I think, and they helped me a lot. They helped me to sleep. Maybe like 2 days after the surgery, I was home alone. And as I said, my mom was away from work for a few days just to, stay home with me. But maybe she was like at the grocery store or something like that because she wasn't home and I needed to go downstairs. And you're not supposed to go up and down the stairs for the first week at home. But my room was on the top floor and my mom wasn't at home. So I thought maybe I could like go downstairs just to get the thing that I needed. So I started, walking downstairs and it was like fine. I mean, it was painful, but I managed. But it was when I went up, because you raise your legs to get up. And when I was in the middle of the stairs, it just bam! It's like I was shot. Striking pain. It was so, I don't know what it was. They told me that I could get those pains for the first few months. I can't explain it, but it was such a strong pain that I kind of caved down. I was like, oh my god, what the freak is going on? I got to my room and I just cried again, oh my god, I'm such a crybaby. I also started bleeding again. I called the doctor's office and they told me stay calm, bleedings are very normal. If it doesn't stop bleeding, come in. However, you're fine, girl. The bleeding stopped, so that was fine. But yeah, I got similar pains a few days later and during those weeks and actually during those months. However, that one was the strongest. I mean, that pain was such an extreme pain. I can't even explain. It just felt like, yeah, as I said, it felt like I was shot. It felt like something broke inside me. However, it didn't. There are so many nerves down there that after the surgery, the nerves are like kind of connecting again during the first few months and even the first year. The nerve endings are finding each other again, so that's when pain can, happen. Yeah, but it was really painful, and yes. The first 3 months, I just kind of stayed at home. Then after 9 months, I got my second surgery, and that surgery, it was like a piece of cake. It took like an hour, and 3 hours after the surgery, I was out of there. I mean, it was a piece of cake. Other than that, I was satisfied. Okay, so now I think I've told you everything that I needed to tell you. I think I've told the whole story. I think. If you have questions about my SRS or gender reassignment surgery, you can just like comment below, and I could make another video answering your questions about the SRS. I've said this before, but the reason why I'm doing a lot of these, stories and telling you about the whole transgender process is just to, educate everyone. Because the more knowledge everyone has, the less hate transgender people get. So I just want to educate everyone and tell you how it is. So if you have questions about the gender reassignment surgery, my SRS, just, comment below. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye!